sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good morning, everybody. Now, before anybody says anything, the sound may be very, very quiet because it's only 5:15 in the morning, and as you can probably appreciate, I can't exactly talk at the most peak of my voice. But no, good morning, everybody, or more to the point, good evening to about 99.9% of you, apart from Phil, who incredibly is still awake. Good morning, Phil, Ray Joyce, Keyboy, Vish, Gavin Gould, Taffy, Armand Dillon's here. Gavin Gould, if all of you want to come live on air right now, hopefully there won't be any technical issues that there was last night, and I am fully aware that I stupidly muted, essentially I muted the audio from the desktop. that means probably nothing to any of you lot, but to me and Jason and any other people that do live streaming, that means a lot, because it means that none of the callers can actually come through. But morning, Ryan. All I will say is to any of you guys that are here live right now, come in the Discord, come live on air and talk to me about this. It looks to be that, let's be honest here, Jose Mourinho is going to be the new Tottenham manager. The question is when he'll be appointed. I have no idea, obviously. I'm assuming it will be announced at some point either today or tomorrow, but we are approaching, as you've just mentioned, Ray Joyce, the fact that we are coming up to Gameweek 13. And to be honest with you, I couldn't care less about it, to be honest with you. You know when you just kind of like, I don't know, I just don't care about fantasy football at the moment, and I'm seriously thinking of just holding transfers or anything. I'll probably be all right when it comes to the preview show tomorrow evening with Jason, but me personally, as it stands right this second, I don't care. I'm more interested in this incredible news that Pochettino was sacked last night. And for anybody that watched the stream, it was only like 20 minutes long last night, me reacting live instantly to what had happened, and I tried to get on some phone calls. Unfortunately, due to my stupidity, I couldn't actually, I could get them on, but no one could hear them because of my, again, my stupidity. But all I will say is that what on earth does this mean if Jose Mourinho is in charge? What does that mean for FPL assets? Does it mean jump on board the Tottenham defence? Does it mean jump on Son and Kane immediately? I've already seen people talking about jumping on and Kane straight away. Really, really interesting thought processes regarding all this, and yeah, very, very interesting indeed. And like I say, if you want to come live on air, please do, because I do not want to be doing a solo show today. I have no interest in doing a solo show, as I always keep saying along with Jason. This is about you guys. I couldn't give a damn about myself. I couldn't care less about what I have to say. I'm more interested in what you guys have to say. So by all means, get into the Discord waiting room, and by all means, come live on air. Like I said, I'll be more than happy to get about 6 of you on at the same time, and we'll have a coherent conversation talking Jose Mourinho, Pochettino, Spurs, everything. And of course, your thought processes ahead of Game Week 13. What do you think your predictions are regarding the upcoming fixtures? But, I mean, straight away, Gavin Gould asking about who to captain. I mean, Mane or Vardy both have got positives. Palace have got defence problems. Brighton have got injury problems. I'm going to be honest with you. If you've got any Man City assets, I'd flame in... I nearly swore, man. I would recommend captaining a Man City asset. I just think that Chelsea are going to get... My opinion is that they're going to be swept aside. I think it's going to be 3 or 4. A good friend of mine, Mr. Reed, he is in a captaincy dilemma. He doesn't know whether to captain Vardy or Aguero or anything. I just said, just if you've got Aguero, captain Aguero. I mean, last season, albeit slightly different circumstances, but last season they won 6-0 and Aguero bagged a hat-trick, and I do remember captaining Aguero because I believe his history versus Chelsea is pretty good indeed. Our man Dylan straight away saying get rid of Son and get a Spurs defender. I mean, if we just quickly bring up the FPL screen here. Richard Friedman, I don't recognise the name. Cheers from Los Angeles. Wow, Notorious Nerd, good morning. Madrid, Sumesh, good morning to you. Colin the Moonwalker, my God. You're here. Incredible. Daily Pool, I haven't seen you for a very, very long time here. Nasty Balls, another one. Doing very, very well in our Cash Mini League. Again, if anybody... There's no one in the waiting room. You seem to be very, very shy. If you want to come in the waiting room, by all means, jump on board and get talking with me live on air. You can talk to everybody that's in the chat right now, because like I said, I don't really want to be talking that much. But Ryan Seashan saying that he's heard that the Spurs morning training has been postponed to this afternoon, perhaps the new manager to be announced. It's my thought process. Well, I say my thought process. I'm just stealing this from James from Planet FPL, but basically I think that they've already appointed a manager. It's just a case of when are you going to be announcing him? You're not going to sack your manager and then just leave it and be like, yep, we'll just go and look for a manager right now. I mean, there's been talk about Allegri as well, possibly coming in. All this talk about Mourinho. What if it was Allegri instead? I'm not going to proclaim that I know much about him. But, maybe there are people out there right now that do know about Allegri and can inform me about what he's like and everything. We had someone mentioning I say somebody. God, where was it here? Someone mentioned about Gazzina being a 4.5 differential for a captaincy. In this daily pool, of course, it is saying Paolo Gazzina at 4.5 and absolutely. In fact, somebody asked the other day about my thoughts on a cheap goalkeeper, and I said, well, there aren't any goalkeepers that are 4.5 anymore apart from Gazzina. And now, well, this has come up and everything, and I think that you may be wise to get onto a defensive asset from Spurs if Mourinho is confirmed in. Good morning, Sydney Hammer. Welcome to the stream, my friend. And we are going to get on a caller in about 6 seconds. It's going to be Phil. He's up early in the morning. I'm assuming, there's no assumption about it. It's a fact. He will have only just finished work. Hopefully, if Phil doesn't come, if you guys can't hear Phil, then this stream is ending. So I'm relying on you guys in chat to let me know if Phil is audible. Good morning, Phil.
Morning, Steve.
Yes, I can hear you. Hopefully the chat can hear you. Let's hope so. People in chat, please let me know if you can hear Phil. Phil, can you just do a few tests? There's a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can you hear me, guys? Check.
Can you? Yes, we can. Thank God. Straight away. Oh, and also, chat, if you can tell me if Phil's a bit too loud, I can just turn him down, basically. Good morning, Tokyo, Grill 86, Ice George, blimey, everybody's coming out the woodwork. Phil, I want to ask you straight away your thoughts on Pochettino getting fired.
I think with the results that Tottenham had, your stat was it 5 games they've won in
this year? Yeah.
7? Was it 17?
In 17 games, including pre-season, across the whole board, they've won 5 games.
Yeah, I think with the record what they're currently on, I think it is warranted, and also it gives the manager that comes in this next 9 weeks before the transfer window opens to decide what he wants to do with the team.
Do you think it's going to be Mourinho?
It's looking that way from what I've been hearing. All the press is saying it's him. So, good luck to him. He won us the European Cup at United. He might do something for Spurs.
Well, as a United fan, do you think this is going to be a good appointment for Spurs? And more importantly, does this make Spurs' assets more appealing?
I think he can get them sorted out at the back and stop them leaking goals, and then hopefully he can just drive the team forward a bit more. But yeah, I think I'm going to look at Son maybe in 2-3 weeks.
Their defence is very, very cheap at the moment. You've got Aurier at 4.8, Alderweireld at 5.4, same as Danny Rose. Vertonghen, I'm assuming, is out injured, seeing as he's flaming red flagged or whatever. But of the defensive assets, who do you think is most quote-unquote nailed on? Would you think it would be Aurier?
Yeah, maybe Aurier, Alderweireld. But personally, I've got Kepa in goal at the moment, and I'm potentially looking to get rid of him soon. Do you know how long Lloris is out for?
It won't be. It'll be until next year at some point. I think it's January-ish time.
It'd be right. It'd be a good 10 games that I'd have Gazzina for if I was to make the switch.
Yeah. Tell us your thoughts, just generally, how you felt Mourinho did at Man United. And do you think he's a good fit for Spurs?
I think Mourinho got a lot more hate than he deserved, to be fair to him. There was that summer when he was I believe there was an interview that he gave where he was like, I've give a list of the 4 or 5 defenders I want to get. And this was maybe 4 or 5 weeks before the deadline. and then over that 5 weeks, you just see they're not making any moves. It's just nothing's happening. But I think the key with Tottenham is if they're going to open up the purse and let him make some transfers. I mean, Tottenham's a good side. They don't need that many things, but I just think maybe 3 or 4 big players in there, and then they're full on for a title-winning side, I think.
You mentioned a key word there, opening the purse. Well, we all know that Levy is not somebody that likes to open his purse. He'll spend money, but not extortionate rates. Do you think that's going to be a hindrance for Mourinho if he does get the job?
If Mourinho's come in, I believe it would have made it part of his deal where he'd say, look, this is the situation I had at United, the biggest club supposedly in the world, and they wouldn't let me spend my money to do what I want to do. If you're not going to do this for me, I won't join. So I think if it is Mourinho, it wouldn't surprise me that he's turned around and said, okay, you've got 150, 200 to spend over the next 2 transfer windows.
Off the top of your head, is there any areas in Tottenham's team which they do need improving on?
I'd say maybe sort of central midfield. I think they need to sort out what they're going to do with Eriksen. All this talk, is he staying, is he going or not? Maybe if he goes in January and they bring in someone to replace him. But like I said, the main spine of the team's there. It's just getting them all to work together. I mean, they got to the Champions League final last year, so they're halfway on track to being right.
Do you think that Mourinho will actually have a positive influence on Eriksen and could actually keep him at the club, considering the talent that Eriksen is?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Mourinho's quite a guy. He'll work out who he wants, who he don't, and he'll probably just come in and go, guys, this is what my plan is for the club. Who's with me, who's not? If not, you're going to be going in January.
I've got a good friend of the show, FPL Booner's team, up on screen at the moment. The reason why I brought up FPL Booner's team is because he has 2 Tottenham assets, which is, of course, is Son and Kane. The question for him is, does he continue keeping them, or, as we all know with their form, it's been pretty poor. Is he wise to keep Son and Kane, rivalry aside?
I would have said before the international break, I would have said, or I wouldn't have been. I've maybe said, I'll only go with 1, 2's a bit too much. But the form Kane's shown during this international break, and I think with the hype of a new manager, sometimes the effect that has on a club, it can really steer them on. So I think you could see just Kane just start holding soon. So he could be on the right track.
Morning, Block FPL. Also, good morning to T something from Greece. TF, good morning from Greece. Mavid Dykels, good morning to you. James Bangs here. Gavin Gould with a couple of pieces of interesting talking points here. One of them being that Rafa Benitez to replace Pellegrini is the latest that he's hearing. Have you heard anything about possibly Benitez taking over from Pellegrini at West Ham?
Not that much. Literally, I was in work when I turned on Sky News in work, found out Poch had been sacked, and then it was the gossip that I heard while I was working last night about Mourinho.
What was your reaction to seeing Pochettino had been sacked? Sacked, not quit, sacked.
I thought Ollie would have gone before him. I was certain Ollie was going to go over the international break.
Do you think that there's a high chance that Pochettino could be the new United manager within the next coming few weeks, or do you think that he's just going to go on a sabbatical and not be seen for months?
I wouldn't want him there personally. I know people say he's a great, but I just wouldn't want him there.
Why?
I just don't know if he's the right fit for the club, in my opinion.
Can you elaborate on what you mean by this?
I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't want him at the club, Steve. Just as a United fan, I know some other people say, "Oh, he's a great manager. He's directed Tottenham so far," but like I said, I just don't think he's the right fit for United.
Who just off the top of your head then? Ollie gets fired today. Who would you be bringing in?
Klopp.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers for all the good times at Liverpool. I'm going to join United now, see if I can turn it around. Yeah.
Just that's it, middle of the season. Like, yeah, I'm not going to worry about the league.
I'll tell you who I've always thought about Man United would be brilliant to get would be Ancelotti. I just think his style of football would be it would just be phenomenal. Your thought, talking of Ancelotti, big names, etc. What do you think this? I know it's been going on and on and on for months and months and months. And good morning, Mark Antigua. Yes, you've made it. Welcome to this very well, in my case, very very early morning stream. But your thoughts on this Gareth Bale swap deal with Pogba? Pogba's going to be returning back and everything. Do you think this is just a load of rubbish, or do you think there's some substance to this?
Well, that's the first I've actually heard of it, but I'd be happy with that. Give me back. I think Bale's an amazing player. I think when he left the Premier League was one of the worst days of the Premier League. He's such a talent. And Pogba's just Pogba at the moment. He's more problems than pleasure.
Good morning, FPL mechanic. Ryan Seachin is saying he has Aurier, which bothers him. Mourinho doesn't like attacking fullbacks. He rather likes his fullbacks who defend, essentially, here. Your thoughts on that?
Didn't Mourinho have Alonso in his team?
What, during the title-winning season, though? When I don't think he was in charge when Alonso was having his most creative season. I thought that was what's his face? I've forgotten his name. What's his name? The Chelsea manager, the last one. What's his name? What's his name, Phil? Come on, help me out here. The last Chelsea manager. Someone's screaming. What was his name? Conte. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for that. But wasn't that under Conte that Alonso was at his best? Phil?
Hello, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where did you just go?
I don't know. Discord's been a bit funny. Me and Vince have had a few troubles. He keeps kicking us off lately.
Oh, I was just saying that it was Conte. Well, Ryan did anyway. That it was Conte. He was clarifying the manager. Wasn't it Conte that got the best out of Alonso?
I'm not 100% sure, but his point, what you were saying about Aurier, I think he's quite a good pick for him to keep. If anything, I think Mourinho would probably just get a setback for and stick with it.
Eugenio, what an extraordinary name there. Eugenio Mendoza. You're not related to Mike Mendoza by any chance? Good morning, Charlie. Good God, 5:30 in the morning. Do you want to come live on air like Phil? Eugenio making the point there that Mourinho had Ashley Young, who was very attacking under him. Your thoughts on that, Phil?
Yeah, Young worked quite well with Mourinho.
Did you think that actually Danny Rose could be somebody that can come out the woodwork? Because we all know Danny Rose's potential. We all know he had his issues with Pochettino. But your thoughts maybe on Danny Rose being a possible option?
Mourinho could come in and settle Rose down, because I can't remember if I see it on BBC during the week. But didn't Levi said something about he weren't in his plans in his future and he's just going to play out his contract now?
What?
Is that right? That's
what Pochettino had said about...
Levy had said about Rose. There's a Tottenham player that's only going to play out their contract now. I don't want to be misquoted. I believe it was Danny Rose.
Yeah, I'm not going to, again, I'm not going to proclaim that I know the exact, but I have heard something along those lines. Okay then, well, forget Danny Rose. What about the talented Ben Davies, someone that did really, really well for us in FPL a couple of seasons ago. Whenever he played for Spurs, he always seemed to get over a clean sheet or an assist. Ben
he had
Davies
that season. He
5.4.
was getting them week after week.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So let's just quickly look over Tottenham's fixtures. I've got them on screen at the moment. They've got the early kick-off against West Ham on Saturday, which is away. Then they've got Bournemouth, Man U of all teams. In fact, could the Man U game in Gameweek 15 be the Pochettino versus...
You've just quoted it. You've just quoted it. Even still, if it is Mourinho, I can see Tottenham beating United in that game. Oh no.
And then it's Burnley at home, Wolves. Their fixtures aren't that appealing as per se, but we all know what happens with the new manager. Well, not even a new manager bounce. Usually,
also to remind you, in between 13 and 14, they're going to have a Champions League game. Game week 15 is the first midweek game as well, and then they're also going to. I think they have their last Champions League game between 16 and 17.
Right, okay, that's interesting. But do you think that Mourinho, whoever's in charge, will be making that many changes?
Not really. I think I think the question is whether or not they're settle Ericsson into the main starting lineup. I think they're just going to probably put out their big guns.
Charlie making the point here that Rose, we know it was, but Danny Rose was actually saying that he is going to play out his contract, and Colin the Moonwalker talking about fullbacks. Ivanovic, the hero, back in 2010-11, I'm guessing. Ivanovic, the very attacking fullback for Mourinho here. Notorious Nerd making the point, Mourinho always brings out the best in his strikers. Drogba, Lukaku, Costa. What about Harry Kane? It's all... Boona, from an FPL perspective, Boona must be very, very confident the fact that he owns Harry Kane. Well, what are your thoughts on potentially bringing in Harry Kane, despite the fact we looked at his fixtures and everything? Do you think that maybe he could be a real option now? He's only 10.8.
I think he's a great option, but personally, just the way my team's set up, I think Son's the one.
Well,
I can fit in Son better into a 3-5-2 more than trying to bring Kane in.
Let's bring up your team. Where are you in the Cash Mini League, Phil?
Low down to maybe 70 somewhere. I've had a bad 2 weeks. I had that when I was working up in Birmingham that week. I had Otamendi's 30 seconds cost me 21 points. Cheers for that, Steve. I also had the...
what a shame.
When that happened, Steve, I'm in the middle of dealing out in the poker tournament in the middle of the NEC, and I've had a break and come back on. I think it was the 60th minute into the Man City game. So I already know Lundstrom's hauling, so I'm like, oh, that's great. I've got him coming off.
So just before you continue the anecdote, so you knew that Otamendi hadn't started?
Yeah.
Right,
I knew
okay.
he hadn't started. I knew Lundstrom had scored. I'm like, oh, this is great. It's like a few of the people on the table was playing FPL as well, so they're checking their phone. And I'm literally there doing the thing, and then all of a sudden I see him taking the bib off, and I'm like, Pep, what have you done to me? And I'm just like, oh. And then all them people that were coming on the show, I was like, yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Not that you know him, but a very close friend of mine, Mr. Reed, was joking with me last night when I did my match of the day challenge, all this nonsense, and I still find it hilarious that again, obviously I was happy with the 21 points, but it's the fact that my differentials did nothing. But for people like yourself, let's be honest here, he cost you 20 points.
The two things that the Lundstrom and the Watford getting the penalty, which was a bit dubious, I think that was cost me 26 points, which was 780,000 places.
What's that? Sorry, say that again. Which point?
That game week, if I had got the points from Lundstrom and Watford hadn't have got the penalty, I would have gone from 1.2 up to 400 something thousand.
I'm just looking at your team here. So let's just take game week 11 about this Lundstrom benching and all this malarkey, which makes complete logical sense. Wasn't I'm right in saying that who were Man City playing? They were at home to Southampton, right? Okay. So on the bench.
Yeah. Also that week I got Sterling captain that week.
Yep, I've got it all up on the screen now, my friends. But that week you had Lundstrom and Ake on the bench. The following week, so 2 weeks ago, game week 12, again benching points again with Pereira and Ings. I mean, can you tell us why you own Danny Ings?
The reason I had Ings already 2-3 weeks ago because he was more of a plan coming up for the future 6 game weeks, and I took a punt on Luca Dean, so that's why I've benched Ings, because I thought Everton might win that 1-2-0. I'll get the clean sheet, hopefully an assist or something for Dean. And the reason I benched Pereira is because I just see Arsenal scoring.
Yeah.
I see Leicester winning the game, but I just see Arsenal scoring. I couldn't not see Arsenal scoring.
Yeah.
And then they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, I wanted to do a show actually last week or whatever, but I'll ask you your thoughts on this season so far. It just seems that it doesn't matter what logical moves people make.
Yeah.
It's to go with the illogical that will get you the points. How are you finding this season so far?
Well, obviously, I was quite differential at the start with no Sterling and Salah, and I think I was 4 million something after game week 2. So it's been quite good for me because I've enjoyed battling my way back up and trying to get things in the right place, planning out for what's going on. But you're right, the logical things are just out the window completely.
I mean, going all the way back to game week 1, I'll never forget when I rewatched the stream from literally game week 1, and it was the whole Liverpool versus Norwich, and I'll always remember when Jason. This was literally like. This is Elite FPL history here.
After the deadline, he can't change his team. This is it now.
And you had Firmino. I mean, you captained him. It paid off. He got you an assist. And do you think from that moment that you had started this game and you were just 4 millionth, it was just like, this is going to be one hell of an uphill struggle from now on? I mean, I'll just one more.
Go on.
One more question, just to link that in. Do you think you have any chance of getting into the top? Well, let's be honest here, the 4th place in our Cash Mini League, because at the moment you've got an advantage where you've only used your wild card, and you've got all your chips in place. So, your thoughts on this Cash Mini League, and are you going to be able to get up there to get that 4th spot?
I'll answer the first question first. So, if you remember me coming on pre-season, I mentioned how before I was always involved in like a manager of the month cash leagues, and everyone played it. Everyone has Salah, everyone has Sterling. I know they're players that are critical players within the game if you don't own them. But for me, I just wanted to go different, play it my own way, set up my team, and then go forward that way. And then with regards to the cash league, absolutely 100% I'll be in the top 10, minimum top 10 by the end of the season.
Okay, well, if we're going to be taking that as an example, you are, my maths is going to be terrible now, you are
112, I think it was, something like that.
From 10th, you're about 110ish, 111. In fact, funny enough, Keyboy, if you're still watching this, you are 10th at the moment. So Phil is breathing down your neck. 4th spot, you... Oh, wait a minute, sorry. Yeah, my maths is so tight up here. Let me just quickly do the maths. I know what your team is, so I don't need to worry about. I know how many points you've got. So 641 minus 727, 727. You're 86 points. Sorry, terrible maths. 86 points off fourth.
Yeah, that's easily achievable. So.
And it's Charlie. Charlie's here live at the moment. Have you got any words for Charlie?
Good luck to him. Just keep going, making your jammy hits, bro, isn't it?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Charlie taking a -4 basically every single week? He brought in Delafeu, which of course paid off last time. How do you feel like people like Show Me the Marnie and everything doing these, as you say, these jammy FPL picks? Is it down to luck or do you put it down to skill? I mean, he came on the other week claiming that he just randomly put on the captaincy on Jamie Vardy when he went and scored, 300 points against Southampton because it was a last-minute decision. How does that make you feel?
Well, to be fair to Charlie, the Delafeu one, he was deliberating about that all week, whether or not to bring him in or not. And for what he's planning, it's a good strategy and a decent differential to have. But yet, some people are just so lucky, it's beyond belief. It's a bit like even when at the week when I was preaching Captain De Bruyne, and then everyone has it captain on Sterling, then he gets benched, and it just so happens their vice captain's on De Bruyne. Can't breathe.
Charlie straight away saying you've got to love the skill.
Yeah,
exactly.
Crack on, mate.
Good morning, Shano83. Morning to you. James Bang, I have a captaincy dilemma. Aubameyang at home to Southampton or Richarlison. You've actually got Richarlison at home to Norwich. Phil, I'll just pass the baton to you. Your thoughts on James's dilemma there? Would you go with Aubameyang captain or Richarlison, and why?
Just Captain Vardy. Having the two's enough differential. I think I wouldn't captain either of them.
You're saying Captain Vardy. Notorious Nerd has made a point that captaining Vardy is almost like a set and forget this season. Do you want to expand on that? Do you want to let us know why you think captaining Vardy could be the best choice this weekend?
Brighton have, is it Dunk or Duffy suspended?
Dunk, yes. Yeah. I think it's Dunk. Yeah.
And I think they've got another 2 injuries in their defence. I just think it could be another Southampton show.
You think it's going to be a high-scoring game despite Brighton's... I can't bring up on screen, but what I can do is I can actually just go on the internet, so to speak. But my understanding is Brighton are no mugs at home, and they've only conceded 3 goals from 5 games at home.
Yeah, but Vardy's been stuck indoors the last 2 weeks. He's bored. He's eager to get out, raring to go. 4 goals for Vardy this week, Steve.
So... is that what you're planning on doing? Are you planning on captaining Vardy? Phil?
Finished.
Phil, are you there?
He's been my bus captain.
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You are...
He's been my bus captain Gameweek 12 started.
So this season, Brighton at home... they've played 6 like everybody. They've won 3, drawn 2, lost 1. They've scored 10, conceded 6. Leicester away from home. I know they're doing very well away from home at the moment. In fact,
while you're just on the Brighton one, Steve, can you just check have they played like any of the top 5, 6 teams?
Let's just quickly check Brighton. Where are you? Have Brighton played any of the top 6 teams at home? Once this all loads up, I'll be able to tell you immediately, which it all has, which is all good. By the way, everybody, if you're watching this stream and you're thinking, my goodness, everything seems to be working well, it's because, I finally got, well, not me personally, but we finally got a brand new internet, so all good. So, Brighton at home, they have played... You are completely right, absolutely nobody of interest. They've played top 6 teams away from home, where they've lost to Manchester United, as you will know, 3-1. Chelsea, they lost 2-0. Man City, they lost 4-0. I mean, So you're thinking that maybe, I mean,
load up, guys. Get Vardy, Maddison in your team. They're both going to get minimum 15 points this week. I'm happy with them both in my team.
I'm gonna ask you it's not a personal question. It's more of a question getting into the mind of how we all think and everything. So this is meant in no disrespect whatsoever, but this is how I think. So you, as we've just seen, you are 900,000. This means absolutely nothing, by the way. I fully appreciate this, but you are 900,000th in the world at the moment. You're 73rd in the Cash Mini League. Straight away, I'm thinking, again, this is meant in no disrespect. I'm just thinking aloud here. You're not doing that great. You're telling us, the audience, that Vardy, Maddison, they've potentially got you're almost thinking for definite they've got a 15-point haul in them, and I'm thinking, well, this guy isn't doing that well. I'm not going to believe him. How do you use your own real life thought process to choose your FPL teams? Because I know a lot of people don't actually do that. I'll give you an example. Do you have any idea for where Andy is? Good old Andy. So
Resi Desert.
Resi Desi. Do you know where he's in the Cash Mini League?
Not off the top of my head.
If anybody in chat knows where Resi Desi is in the or Andy from Ireland knows where Resi Desi is, it'd be fascinating. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because he is doing really. In fact, he is top of the Elite FPL predictor game. And he is absolutely storming it. And I'm thinking that, let's just say, for example, he's not having the greatest of seasons in FPL. I'm thinking, well, clearly then he's not using his own knowledge when it comes to predicting games to put that knowledge into his FPL team. For example, if he's thinking that Leicester are going to have a really, really tight game against Brighton, and he predicts, for example, 1-0 to Leicester.
Yeah, so then he might only put one player in.
Well, what I'm saying is that... But then he predicts, say, Man City to win 3-0 against Chelsea, right? But he then decides to go with the safety captaincy option in Vardy rather than putting on, say, Sterling, despite the fact that he's predicting more goals.
More goals in that game.
What are your thoughts on people like myself or whatever thinking, well, I'm looking at this guy's rank, I'm then hearing him say what he's thinking about particular players, how they're going to do and stuff, and then I'm just like disparaging it by saying, nah, I don't think that's going to be happening because, you know, if you were predicting so well this season, then you'd be higher up in the ranks, blah, blah. I'm not one to talk. I haven't gone with any of my advice whatsoever, and that's why I'm doing so rubbish. But
well, to be fair, my 40 points of hits would have took me back up the Cash League.
You've done 40 points of hits?
Yeah, I think I'm about that now, yeah.
Wow, why have you... Let's have a quick look. I've got your game week history up here. Why have you taken... That's only 4 points less than Jason. Why have you taken so many? And have they paid off?
Yeah, most of them have paid off. I know the one... I haven't kept track since game week 6, but I know I think over the first 6 game weeks I took minus 12 in hits and was plus 25 out of the deal. And then most of the others have quite worked. And the ones recently have been a bit more about restructuring. So I've had to take like a minus 8 the last 2 weeks.
What's the biggest transfer you've done which has paid off?
I can't remember exactly who it was, but it would have been one of the two from maybe Abraham when I brought him in.
Specifically when?
I think it was maybe game week 3 or 4. It would have been for his hat-trick, I think.
So I've got Andy's team up on screen at the moment. He's actually, would you believe, 20th in the Cash Mini League. He's 130,000th overall rank. His team, for anybody listening.
How many points is he on?
He is on 696. So what's that? 45.
55.
50, yeah, points ahead of you. And I mean, his team, for people listening on audio, is Nick Pope in goal, Lundstrom, Soyuncu, Alexander-Arnold, Perez, Mane, Salah, Mount, De Bruyne, Abraham, Vardy. He went with the card Vardy captaincy this week. It would be very interesting to see what he's thinking this particular game week. I mean, do you know where Andy's been? I haven't seen Andy for weeks.
I haven't. I know he's popped up on Discord a few times.
Oh, so he is still here.
Yeah. While you are on the stream, do you want to have a quick look at the community team?
The problem is that I can't access it. So I can access it, but what I'll do.
If you go through Discord, Steve, go to the poll vote and click the link what Andy posted the other day. That'll take you to the last game week of the
Oh, it's all right. I can bring it up on my phone, and what I'll do is I'll post it up on the team screenshots. By the way, everybody that's watching this, if anybody wants to come live on air, like along with me and Phil, by all means, just join in the waiting room on Discord, and by all means, you carry on, and me and Phil will be more than happy to have a coherent conversation with you. I just saw a very interesting comment.
One thing I do want to mention to the people about the community team, we're holding the transfer this week, and then one thing that's been mentioned to me is that we don't have Lundstrom in our team at the moment, so we're going to be bringing him in after game week 13 as part of our two moves.
Oh, is that so? Remind everybody again. You've got what? You've got one.
We're holding. I think the vote's at like 27 to hold the transfer this week. So next week we'll have two transfers, and bringing Lundstrom into our team will be one of our moves next week.
I'm just looking at the team just now. 86 points this week.
Yeah, we did well. We did. I think it was the 20,000 game week score or something like that.
Ranked 20,000th.
For the game week score, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And like I said, I'll bring it up on them for people to be able to see in about 6 seconds' time. Once it's whoops, wrong one. But so is there going to be any? There's definitely not going to be any poll voting this week, other than for captaincy, I'm guessing.
I'll be putting the captaincy poll up on Thursday morning, and then next week it'll be bringing in Lundstrom, and then if we're going to use both our transfers next week.
And bringing in Lundstrom is a definite decision that the community want, is it?
Well, I'm going to put the vote out there, but I do think, as a percentage-owned player, it's one that we can't avoid not to have in our team over the next 4 or 5 game weeks, especially with Sheffield United's nice little run they've got coming up.
There we are. The team's up on screen at the moment for people listening on audio. This is the Elite FPL community team, which all you guys choose essentially, and it's Nick Pope in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Tomori, Pereira, Mane, Tielemans, Mount, De Bruyne, Vardy captain, Jimenez and Abraham, and there will be a poll vote, as we just said, for who to captain this particular game week. Just one quick question. You were somebody that was a massive advocate of Pereira this season. Are you happy with him this season?
Well, I'll wait until Saturday, but I was eager, and I don't have Pereira anymore. I had to downgrade. Unfortunately.
What transfer have you done?
I had to do, due to some price rise moves, I done Pereira down to Soyuncu, and De Bruyne to Salah.
Oh my, right, okay. You've done De Bruyne to Salah, and obviously, like you just said, you've done almost like a sideways move for bringing in Soyuncu to make the funds. Why have you brought in Salah?
I'm just really keen. I think Liverpool could be scoring some decent games the next 5, 6. I just, because of the way that the price was going to fluctuate, if I didn't do it, then the next morning I'd be 0.3 out, I think it was.
you're not concerned about the fact that Salah is essentially injured at the moment, or do you think it's an I mean, we all know his issues with his ankle. You're not concerned about this? This is what's holding me off doing it.
Well, the reason I jumped on it is because I had the feeling more it was of a international injury, and I was like, oh yeah, he should be back for Palace. But
fascinating.
I can handle him if he don't play. I don't mind him having to bench him 1 week, but it's a bit of a headache.
James, you're live on the Elite FPL breakfast show.
Hey Steve-O, hey Phil, how you guys doing?
We're doing
Thanks,
very well.
James, yourself?
I'm back in Hong Kong now.
Oh.
No roosters today.
We've just heard the news that Phil's just broken, that he's just brought in Salah for Kevin De Bruyne. Your thoughts on that, James?
So Salah in, De Bruyne out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic move. De
Thank
Bruyne's
you,
been
James.
he's been a bit out of form. He's a definite rotation risk for the festive fixtures. I do understand Salah's a bit of an injury risk, but if he's fit, Klopp's going to play him.
So just before you guys continue, Gavin Gould, Charlie have made a couple of points here. Beware of Salah. He could be fit, but because of past ankle injuries lately, might be rested for a few games. And Charlie saying that Salah probably won't play, and neither will Robertson. James, your thoughts on that?
Well, Phil, do you have money?
Yeah. So at the moment, I've got Trent, Mane, and Salah.
Well, then I think he's better than De Bruyne, I think, because if you're weighing playing game time, I reckon De Bruyne is more of a risk than Salah at this stage, until we know more.
I've been seriously considering getting rid of Kevin De Bruyne and bringing in either Sterling or Salah. James, you thought, and captaining Sterling. Your thoughts on that, James?
I'm on the same boat as you. I've got a big question mark on De Bruyne. I've got rid of Sterling already for Mane. So De Bruyne is my last City asset, and that's the only reason I'm holding on is just to get a bit of City coverage. If not, I'd be considering the move you mentioned as well.
Steve-O, did I just you say that you're going to bring Sterling in?
Yeah, for Kevin De Bruyne and captaining. That's what I'm thinking of doing.
I do like the move. It could pay off well for you. My only concern is this 4 yellow card thing.
I couldn't care less about that, honestly. I'll have to deal with it at the time. And to be honest with you, I'm not really fussed with this season. Get him in for one game, and if he's to get a yellow card but gives me a hat-trick, I'll take it, and then I'll just get rid of him for Salah. I mean,
is there a League Cup game upcoming where he could deliberately just get a soft yellow?
I'll find out in a second. I'll just ask you, Ryan, asking you a question, Phil, specifically. You've now got 3 Liverpool assets. How are you planning to go into Gameweek 18, where, of course, Liverpool blank?
I'm going to bench them all.
And we've got your team up on screen at the moment. Let's just take it as read that you'll have... The thing I noticed going through the thing, I believe on that game week, Man City play Leicester. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So if I was to jump off for 1 week, I'm not going to jump down to Sterling in that game.
No, I was in the same boat as you. If I was to get triple Liverpool, I'd be more than happy to bench all 3 because my bench is perfectly capable of covering that specific game week. So in answer to your question, James, unfortunately the next League Cup game for Liverpool isn't until the 17th of December. Sorry,
Is that
it would be the Man
is
City.
that the one against Aston?
Yeah, that's Liverpool. You were asking about Man City. My apologies, and Sterling and his yellow card, but it'd be roughly the same date. So we've got a very, very long time to go before.
And if I'm right, is that the game they're going to play? Did I hear something? They're going to field 2 teams on different continents. Did I hear that?
That's right, yeah. So Liverpool or Klopp, whoever, has come out and said that what will be happening is that he'll be sending out one team for this World Cup League, whatever it's blinking called. And
club championship. Who do you think gets the A team, and who do you think which competition gets the B team?
Oh, it'll be the League Cup that gets the B team. And just to clarify, Man City are away at Oxford on the 18th of December. So there's at least, in fact it's 4 weeks away. We've got absolutely ages to go before that. In fact, Man City's upcoming fixtures, they're at home to Chelsea. And then 3 days later, they're at home to Shakhtar Donetsk. Then they're away at Newcastle, away at Burnley. And then it's the derby against Man United at home at the Etihad. James, the biggest news, of course, in the world of football at the moment is the fact that you're having a captaincy issue regarding Aubameyang. Have you thought of anything that's persuading you to go with one or the other?
I've got Vardy. I just need to climb up the ranks. So I just feel like this is a week of a good differential captain with Aubameyang against Southampton and Richarlison. I brought him in last week. He paid off with the 10-point haul against Southampton. So I'm really leaning on maybe sticking the armband on Richarlison for giving me a good week last week. And Norwich at home, can't say much else, right?
Of the two, I'd prefer Richarlison.
Really? Yeah. Not Aubameyang at home. Remember, his record at home is very, very good. You're not concerned that maybe Aubameyang could get a double-digit haul and Richarlison blank?
No, just with Aubameyang out on the wing a lot now. But I'd be more confident in Richarlison.
In all seriousness, James, obviously Pochettino's been fired. Your immediate... number one, what time was it when you found out this news? And number two, your reaction to this news?
It was about 3:30 in the morning when the United stand had Poch out, and I was like, what? This has got to be a joke. And then I checked other sources, and it was breaking news everywhere, like 3:30 in the morning. And then I caught your stream on it as well last night. Or
I'm ready.
Morning, not sure. So yeah, it was honestly, it was one of those where you had to do a double take because it just doesn't seem real. So after verifying it with a few sources, it just sunk in, and the first thing that came to mind was, why do we still have Ole? Should have sacked him a couple of weeks ago. Phil's saying that he wouldn't want Pochettino in charge at United. Your thoughts on that? And would you take Pochettino at the snap of the finger? I disagree with you, Phil, on this one. I'd take him in a heartbeat. He's much more experienced. He's taken a team to a Champions League final. He built a top 7 side into a championship contender. His CV speaks for itself. This is something United need. We need a manager that can come in, rebuild a team into a championship squad. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And what do you think if Mourinho is confirmed the new Tottenham manager? Your thoughts on Tottenham assets moving forward? I'm definitely doing an Aubameyang to Kane. That's happening in the next week or two. Wow. So a straight swap. Why for you are you thinking of doing that? I believe after 2 weeks, Arsenal play Southampton and I think Norwich, and then afterwards their fixtures get a bit tougher while Spurs' fixtures get a lot easier as well. So it's a fixture change. So I was looking at it, but then the managerial appointment is the one that really pushed me to definitely do it because you always see that boost with a new manager.
Arsenal's next 5 are Southampton, Norwich, Brighton, West Ham. I'm getting rid after Norwich. Yeah. Just for some clarity, Charlie saying that Arsenal have been so poor even at home, and he has only scored in 1 in the last 6. Richarlison is a no-brainer against a shocking Norwich team, so maybe some positive news for you there, James. There was something here that I was going to say, yeah, so John Engelbrett is asking, are you still taking new callers? We are open to any callers coming live on air, whether you're brand new, whether you've been calling us since the pre-season. By all means, you carry on, you jump. In fact, James, you could be able to tell John or anybody that's watching this live now about coming live on air and what you enjoy about, essentially being part of the show.
It's a great community. So the first thing I did was, got brave enough to come on air, and then ended up joining the Discord, met a lot of really cool guys, and just kept in touch. And yeah, if you want to come on, I think that's a great first step, and then join the Discord and get to know the rest of the community. It's a really welcoming group of guys.
We've got Daily Llama live. Blimey, you're up early, pal. Aussie boy, good morning. If you want to come live on air, by all means. Talking of Daily Llama, James, Phil, I'll ask you, James, straight away. Are you going to be part of this Champions League that Daily Llama set up, and are you excited for it?
I'm super excited about it. The lineup that Daily Llama's put together is just absolutely fantastic, isn't it? With Jules, who got the assist. It's really a Champions League worthy. The name is worthy of the lineup, so I'm very excited if to be a part of this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Phil. You were the one that actually got Jules Breach, apparently. Is that right?
Yeah.
How you don't obviously
Wow,
you don't need to get. You don't know.
How did you do it, Phil?
Yeah, how did you do it without going to like specific terminologies? But in all seriousness, what?
Basically, last season when I had my FPL Instagram account, I was chatting to her and then it was her birthday last weekend, so I just messaged her saying happy birthday, let her about the league was starting, we'd like to invite her to be a part of it, and then she messaged back on the Monday saying join the league.
And fantastic. And are you excited for this Champions League that Llama set up, which will be kicking off sometime in the near future?
Yeah. I was mentioning in Discord the other day, I'm half of two minds, where I think it could help my season quite a lot. I think if you can go into this tournament and look at it more game week by game week, looking at your opponent and judging it that way, and then providing that you're beating them, you're still making positive scores. So then, rather looking at the overall big picture, just concentrate on that.
I said this the other day. It's going to be cool because it's not going to be about the overall points. It's about head to head. And let's just take, the fact that last week you got 73 points or whatever it was, Phil. That could be up against, I don't know, whoever in the Champions League. Let's just take, let's just take Jules Breach as a prime example here. She's doing really well this year, but that specific week she may only get 60 points, so straight away you get the 3 points and she gets 0. It's absolutely fantastic. Youssef, good morning to Gabrielle de Rop. Welcome to this early morning stream. Nikhil, welcome to the stream, my friend. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to bring on a brand new caller. I don't actually recognise the name. It's LFC Warrior. I wonder if this is John. LFC Warrior, are you there? Hello, LFC. Yes, hello, good morning to you. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, and you?
All good, my friend. Whereabouts are you calling us from?
South Africa.
Oh, fantastic. So we got someone from Hong Kong, someone from South Africa. Phil, where are you at the moment, this precise time? Croydon. I'm in, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm in West London, that's all you need to know. LFC. Oh, wait a minute. We've had a super chat. Oh, my goodness. Who has given us a super chat? And it's James. Come on, mate. You didn't have to do that.
It's a cup of coffee for you, mate.
Mate, I've got
up so early in the morning.
I've got my water. Oh, I'm used to waking up early. You didn't need to do that. Anyway, that's a point. Yeah, we'll be having a moderator chat later about the Champions League thing, to be honest with you. LFC Warrior. The simple question is this. Your thoughts on Pochettino being fired and possibly Mourinho taking over?
I didn't think he would get sacked, to be honest. I was a bit surprised. I mean, he's obviously done well for Spurs, but they have had like a drop in form, so sort of had to come. I don't know about Mourinho, but
when
I
you
don't know who will take over.
When you say you don't know about Mourinho, do you mean in the sense of you don't think he'll take over, or do you mean that you don't think he's the right fit for Spurs?
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem like the right type of manager for Spurs. Like he's more defensive based, whereas like Spurs seem to play a more attacking based football.
Well, talking of the defensive aspect of his game, What are your thoughts then potentially if he was to take over? Does that make their defensive assets more appealing from an FPL perspective?
It could. It probably would actually, but we'd obviously have to wait and see how they go. Like I wouldn't rush in getting them in.
Do you own any Tottenham players at the moment?
No, I don't.
Would you consider bringing in like James's Harry Kane?
I would consider it once, like I see how they start going. I mean, you can't just jump on them straight away if you're not too sure.
No, absolutely. We got people like FPL Booner, of course, that own 2 Tottenham assets already, and
Yeah.
he owns Son and Kane. Would you be somebody that would just say to him, just hold on and just continue with them, or would you just say, do you know what, maybe get rid of one of them to free up funds to bring in somebody else with better fixtures, of course?
I would certainly wait a week or two to see how they do, and then if they're doing well, then you might as well just keep them.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, their fixtures coming up. We've already mentioned Spurs' fixtures per se. I mean, James, I'll ask you the question here. Have you considered maybe bringing in? I mean, you said you're bringing in Kane, but maybe a defensive asset from Spurs, like GW13 as an example.
I already own GW13 actually.
Oh.
I am considering a rotation with Henderson.
So you're somebody that likes to play the rotation game with goalkeepers.
Yeah, of 2 budget keepers and preferably the home team.
So how has that worked out for you this season?
I've only just started actually. I got rid of Edison during his injury a couple of weeks back.
Phil, I'll ask you immediately. James is going to be starting to play the rotation game with his cheap goalkeepers. Your thoughts on that?
It's just the headache. The amount of time, I think I've done it a season or 2, and the amount of times you go, yeah, this is the perfect one, I'm going to play this one at home, and then the one that's on your bench gets some penalty save and a clean sheet and sat there on 14 points, and you're just putting your hair out.
I'll be sure to come on air when that happens.
LFC, we've had a question. Whereabouts in South Africa are you from?
Near Durban.
Durban. I mean, I'm not going to proclaim to know anywhere where that is or whatever, but hopefully
East Coast.
East Coast of South. I'm assuming Greasy Trumpet. He's from South Africa. He'll know straight away where that is and everything. LFC, how is your season going so far? And more importantly, are you looking forward to Gameweek 13?
I think so, because I decided to bring in Traore for Candor because I was tired of him sitting on the bench.
Ooh.
It's a nice move.
But
well, obviously with the Christmas period, I wanted to strengthen my bench. But
with bringing in Traore though, does that mean though that you're going to be benching him every single week, or are you playing a 3-5-2 formation? What's the situation there?
I currently got a 3-4-3. Do you want a screenshot to look at my team?
Yeah, if you put it in the team screenshots, which is literally above the waiting room, then we'll be able to bring it up and be able to show our audience specifically what you've got. Because I think bringing in someone like Traore for 5.2 as a bench fodder player, I wouldn't like to do. I mean, Phil, your thoughts on this move? Phil?
Yeah.
Okay, James, do you want to answer that question? Your thoughts on bringing in Traore for Cantwell?
Great timing. Traore is on form. Wolves have good fixtures, and it's time the upcoming fixture crunches. So I think it's a great move.
Charlie making a point here, LFC, that Traore was called up to Spain, but he didn't go due to injury. Is this a concern for you?
Well, he's on my bench for now. I'll see how he does. But with him playing up front, I think he's a good asset to have.
We've got
with Wolves switching to a 3-4-3. He's playing on the right with Doherty providing
Greasy
really strong with Traore.
Greasy Trumpet paying Durban a compliment there. Durban, the India within South Africa, has got some great beaches. So there we have it. But straight back to FPL. You've gone with or you've got the triple up of Robertson, Alexander-Arnold and Mane. When did you jump on board with this?
Well, I actually brought Robertson in before the City game.
Oh,
because I had 2 free transfers. I thought I might as well bring him in for Liverpool's good run.
What on earth made you bring him in for the Man City game?
I'm a Liverpool fan, so I had a good feeling that they would do well, and I knew one of them between them, there would probably be 2 assists or so, 1 or 2 assists, and if I had only Trent, then I might have missed one.
So here's a question for you and a lot of the people that are going to be listening here, is that a lot of people like myself were thinking of tripling up on Liverpool. What do you think is the best option? 2 defenders, 1 midfielder, or 2 midfielders and a defender?
Because Matip will also be back soon, and that will help with the defence as well.
When roughly do you know is Matip back?
Well, I saw a news article that said he might be back after the international break, but I'm not too sure. I haven't heard any new updates yet. But he will be back soon.
One of our regulars, Aussie Boy, is asking, what's your thoughts on doing Salah to Mane, seeing as Salah is a doubt?
Well, I switched Salah to Mane in Gameweek 2. As soon as he would be available to start, because I prefer Mane as an asset to Salah.
Phil, unfortunately, thank you for joining us, Phil. He said he was having... Oh, you're back, are you? Oh, thank goodness. Phil LFC has already done the transfer of De Bruyne to Salah. Do you think that's a bit too risky ahead of the fact that De Bruyne is at home to Chelsea and Salah is a potential injury doubt, or do you think it's a very good move?
Well, you never know what's going to happen with the Chelsea game. I think it might be a pretty high-scoring game. I don't know. But you never know. They could both decide to sit back with Man City under a bit of pressure. But I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think taking out De Bruyne is too risky.
Why do you say that, despite the fact that he hasn't returned for about, 6 games? He's got 1 assist. Is this because of a new a strategy that he's dropping further back? I mean, I heard that Rodri is apparently back, so that means that De Bruyne could be freed up to move more advanced again.
Yeah, but he also did play quite a bit up front with Aguero against Liverpool. So I don't know.
My main reason was doing it is I just looked at it for the block of 5 fixtures, and I weighed up how many points De Bruyne could potentially score against having Salah. I can just see Salah. You can just see. I don't. The reason I've done the switch is I don't see. De Bruyne's not a person that can score a hat trick. I can see Salah scoring a hat trick over the next 5 games.
A hat trick.
I mean, yes, Salah is very good over the Christmas period. Even the last 2 seasons, he's been good over the Christmas period. So he's definitely.
So is Firmino, isn't he? Really good during the Christmas period.
But
I'm not going back to Firmino. He had his 2 weeks.
But he's streaky, isn't he? He's had 6 good weeks. He's had 6 bad weeks, and judging by the upcoming fixtures, he could have a good 6 good weeks coming up.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
but would you pick him over Mane or Salah or having the Liverpool defence?
Guess if your budget doesn't quite stretch, I would, yeah.
But with the current strikers that are available at front, I wouldn't look at Firmino.
No, absolutely. I think that I completely agree with you. I mean, you have got the, as it's called, Vaj, Vardy, Abraham and Jimenez up front. Do you ever see a time when you're actually going to change this?
Well, I actually brought in Vardy this week for Aubameyang. I wanted to keep Aubameyang for the next couple of weeks, but Vardy is just doing too well. I couldn't hold on to Aubameyang any longer.
So James has actually got a dilemma of captaining Aubameyang or Richarlison. You've just got rid of Aubameyang, so I'm thinking now you would actually put the captaincy on Richarlison then? LFC?
I don't have Richarlison.
No. I'm just saying that James has got him.
I don't know. Everton. I don't back Everton. if you had a Liverpool option, I'd probably pick one of them. I'm sort of stuck between captain of Mane and Vardy.
Ooh, so you're confident. So what's your thoughts on Crystal Palace game then? What's your prediction and how do you think it will go?
Well, I'm pretty sure the last game was a 4-3 to Liverpool. I don't know. I think it could be a high-scoring game, but it could also be a low-scoring game.
And
Could go either way.
Obviously, Phil's backing Jamie Vardy against a dunkless Brighton, and there's a couple of other injuries apparently for Brighton. You at the moment you've got Vardy captain. Is that playing more into your mindset of captaining Vardy instead of Mane?
Well, also in the Crystal Palace game, Ward came off injured as well. I don't know if he's back or not, but that's also an injury for Crystal Palace.
I heard this. He apparently, he's not going to be back for quite a while, and it'll be Martin Kelly that plays. And of course, Martin Kelly was the one that I'm sure he came from Liverpool, didn't he? And he may want to, prove a point as to why did you leave me. So Liverpool away from home at Crystal Palace. In the last 6 fixtures, they've only played twice away from home, and it's ended 2-0 and 2-1. The 4-3 was actually at Anfield.
I thought it was away.
Yeah. So it looks like in fact, these games, apart from the 4-3, even though that's still like a close game, so to speak, within the goals scored, it looks like it could be a 2-1 victory to Liverpool only. When I do my history, that's probably what it's going to be predicting, a 2-1 victory to Liverpool here.
Yeah.
But as a Liverpool fan, the fact that you've got double Liverpool defence, you must be praying that they get a clean sheet at some point. I know you've just mentioned Matip and everything, but
Been waiting. In the beginning of the season, I had double Liverpool defence, and the clean sheets just didn't come. So when they tricky round, I took one of them out, and then I brought it back for the good round again.
Jason's already done the move. He did the move 2 weeks ago now, bringing Robertson. Do you think that was wise of him, or do you think that no, maybe back off considering Robertson's got an injury, so to speak?
I don't think he's going to miss any games. I don't think so.
So you think it's just an international injury?
Yeah, I think it might have just been a sort of like knock. Like I don't think he'll miss any games. I don't think he'll.
LFC, do you remember what happened last year during the festive fixtures? Was there rotation in the back?
There was a little bit. Milner slotted in at right back for a couple games, but that was still when Trent was a little bit shaky at the back. I don't think there's gonna be much rotation at the back.
You're playing Lundstrom this weekend. He's at home to obviously United and everything, but you've got Rico on the bench. Have you not thought about maybe playing Rico instead? He's at home to Wolves, Bournemouth's defence. Of course. Yeah. Are you confident, like a lot of Lundstrom owners, that Lundstrom could return a clean sheet?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll get a clean sheet, but he has he has a bit of a goal threat, and if he scores, that's 6 points, and likely a bonus point on top of it, which is you can't not play him. You can't not play him.
Just of interest, where are you ranked in the overall game?
Well, this season I got a bit frustrated. I've actually taken a lot of hits, so I'm currently about 1.4 million.
Well, okay, and do you want to explain why you've taken so many hits?
I don't know. If I just I get a bit frustrated, and then I start making early transfers, and then the 1 week I brought in. I can't remember who I brought in, but I brought in someone, and then I end up taking them out before the end because so he didn't even play that week. I don't know. I just get frustrated.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same with Phil. He's taken 40 points worth of hits due to swapping and changing. James,
I think I might have more.
James, a question for you. How are you planning on getting rid of Richarlison when their fixtures change after this particular game week? Because Everton have got some awful fixtures coming up.
They do. So I actually have a notepad that I have on my phone that I plan out the next 10 game weeks. So game week 13, I have Richarlison to Maddison planned, and game week 15 is when I have the Aubameyang to Kane move. So I realize when I actually plan out my game weeks and the transfers I'm going to make, I seem to take less crazy hits during the weeks versus during the early days, I didn't do that, and I seem to be taking hit after hit. So I'm trying to be more disciplined now.
Yeah, right. Ryan immediately says a great move. LFC, a question for you. Notorious Nerd mentioning that Milner will possibly come in for Robertson to manage his injury potentially. Your thoughts on Milner coming in, and you're not worried about rotation?
I'm not too worried about the rotation because when Milner plays, the either left or right back, the quality of the crosses coming in are reduced a bit, and that sometimes leads to them struggling to score. And I think Klopp knows that, so he mostly plays Milner in the midfield rather than at the back.
Question ahead of game week 13. If you could have any player this game week which you think's the best captaincy option, LFC, who do you think the best captaincy option is this game week, even if you don't own him?
I still think it would be Vardy or Mane, but I could, if I had Kane, I might just stick on him as a differential, because I think Spurs might play with a bit of fire this coming weekend. So if you have him, I wouldn't shy away from that.
If Harry Kane, for example, let's just for argument's sake say that Harry Kane goes and gets a brace against West Ham. We all know that if again Mourinho comes in, we all know his history regarding improving strikers or getting the best out of his strikers anyway. How are you going to try and, if you wanted to bring in Kane, how would you try and fit him into your team? Which of the three of Vardy, Abraham and Jimenez would you get rid of? And of course you'd have to get rid of the midfielder as well to free up funds. Unless you've got money in the bank, of course.
I think I have 1 million in the bank. So I'd have to downgrade. If Kane, it would probably have to. I don't know.
It's tough.
It's not easy to do, man.
It's very, very difficult indeed. I mean, Phil, with LFC's team up on screen at the moment here, he's got Vardy, Abraham, and Jimenez. Like I said, Kane gets in form, and Vardy, Abraham, and Jimenez just continue doing what they're doing. Do you drop one of those three, or do you have to get in Kane?
Yeah, I think it depends on the amount of surgery you've got to do to your team, really, because pretty much you've got to drop Salah down to what's that going to be? 5, 6.
I mean, if you have 1 million in the bank, you could just remove a Liverpool defender and upgrade Jimenez. Because Liverpool's fixtures, up to game week 18 do get tough, and that's when Kane has an easy run.
Jimenez is just over 7, and Kane is 11, or close to 11.
Right, so you'd have to go from 7.2 at Trent to maybe a 4.2 Burnley defender Taylor, and use that extra million you have in the bank to upgrade Jimenez.
Yeah, I think if I was to do it, I would probably downgrade De Bruyne, and then upgrade Jimenez.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of De Bruyne, do you think I'm mad in potentially bringing in Sterling for De Bruyne and captaining Sterling?
Honestly, I prefer De Bruyne. I mean, Sterling will probably outscore him over the whole season, but De Bruyne, I think, will be a bit more consistent than Sterling.
One for you, James. You're somebody that you've just mentioned it, and also Phil. You do your structure of your team based on a notepad or whatever you have, and you do it on blocks and everything. And Ryan is saying about McGinn is a great set of fixtures over the Christmas period. James, have you thought about bringing in McGinn?
Not McGinn, but Grealish, actually, because I feel like he's more of an attacking threat playing on the left of the front three. So he is in my notepad for a Mount to possibly a Grealish downgrade to free up some funds, depending on Mount's form. But yeah, I do have that penciled in.
Well, and you, Phil, McGinn, or even in this case, Grealish for Aston Villa's festive period games. Phil? Nope, he's disappeared again. We'll bring on Charlie. Morning, Charlie. Hello, Charlie. You've just said you want to come live on air. We literally just brought you on. Nope, Charlie's not there either. LFC, then we'll ask you quickly. McGinn and Grealish.
I think I'll definitely look towards Grealish. I don't know. I just, with the last few weeks, McGinn's sort of played a little bit deeper. I think Grealish is more an attacking threat. Even though he's a little bit more, I think he's worth extra, what is it, like 0.5 million? 0.2 only, I thought it was more. Extra 0.2, I'll definitely look at Grealish over McGinn. And with the he's a good option as well.
Just want to say, well, number one, thank you, Phil, for being part of the show over the last hour and 20 minutes. Really appreciate it. He was having some connection issues. I think it's more the fact that it's the Discord. I don't know what's going on here. Good morning, Nasu and Ray Joyce. You've now become a Playmaker member, which essentially means that you will be able to get to see the X-rated videos that I put up, which James is a big fan of.
It's the best thing you'll watch all week.
Yeah, Ray, if you're under the age of 18, you may want to take that Playmaker away and or whatever, but ask your parents if you can watch the videos, but they're certainly worth it. Let's just see if Charlie's back. Let's try and get him. Oh, he's gone. Brilliant. Charlie's not there at all. James, are you looking forward to Game Week 13, or are you a bit like me, a bit dejected, not really particularly interested in what's going on? I mean, like I said, you've got a bit of a captaincy dilemma, which is maybe keeping up your interest. But for me, I'm not really fussed about this game week.
I'm really looking forward to this game week in the festive fixtures because it's just been a really boring 2 weeks, to be honest. Not a big fan of the international break.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go on about it, but I do find that the international games. I know Dan cannot stand the term international break because it's not a break from international football whatsoever. It's just international games. And let's bring on Yummat. Yummat, good morning. Hello, Yummat. Oh, we just need to turn down the stream, Yummat, if you want to come live on air. Charlie, you there?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, morning, Steve. How are you
It
doing?
is. Good morning, Mr. Number 4 in the Cash Mini League. Come on, mate. Words for Phil. The fact that he says that he's going to be catching you soon and everything. Your thoughts on that immediately? and obviously the thoughts that he thinks that you've been very lucky with your picks. Let's stir it up, shall we?
First thing to say is good luck for catching me, Phil. And yeah, it's going to be should be interesting, but hopefully I can keep the momentum going. But obviously now I'm going to start making the minus transfers and just do one at a time now.
Have you taken any hits over the break?
No hits so far. I'm just going to do one transfer.
Haven't you already done it, the transfer?
No.
Are you willing to reveal what you're going to be doing, or are you just going to keep that secret?
No, I'll tell you. I'm either going to do Yarmolenko out or Mendy, and then either if I take out Yarmolenko, I'll get in Willian or Pulisic. But if I take out Mendy, then I'll get in Soyuncu.
Sorry, I completely missed. Who would you get in for Yarmolenko? Sorry,
I'd get in either Pulisic or Willian.
Willian. You know what? Honestly, I'm actually very, very tempted by Willian. Tell us the reasoning as to why you'd be considering. What you would do this week potentially?
Yeah,
And
either a midfielder or a defender's change.
if you were to do the Yarmolenko move, do you think it's a bit too soon considering they got Man City, or do you think that Willian will turn up and get you a minimum of an assist?
Yeah, I think it's a good game just because Man City's defence has been poor. So if they're playing Angelino or Mendy, I think Willian can do. He can do anything against them.
So,
I've got a question about your defense.
oh, sorry,
why
everybody,
put you-
sorry. I need to cut you both off there. It's now officially been announced that Mourinho is in charge of Man United. Let's quickly bring up immediate thoughts on that, Charlie.
Crazy. Crazy. I can't wait to see the Tottenham fans' reactions. I don't think they'll be happy with that.
And why not?
I just don't think because he's a defensive. The last season he was at United, he was very defensive coach, like going 1-0 up and then sit back. And Tottenham fans want creativity, which they're missing at the moment.
It is official. I've got it up on screen right now. The BBC are reporting that Spurs has announced the appointment of Jose Mourinho. Do you think, though, that the Spurs assets from an FPL perspective are now worth a look at, specifically the defenders?
No. I
No?
just think,
What?
Nah, I just think because this season so far, like there's been a lot of rotation, but even with Mourinho coming in, I don't think it'll make much difference, to be honest.
Why do you say this? I mean, he's come into various teams that he's always managed. He's always shored up the defence and everything. And you think for the first time ever in his career, it's not going to happen?
No, I just think there's bigger problems within the team. Stuff going on with the players and the chairman about contracts and stuff like that. So until that gets fixed, then I might go for some defensive players.
But surely, from a fantasy football perspective, we can forget all the contract issues aside and everything. We're just all caring about points and stuff. I mean, I've just seen someone here saying about, obviously it's tongue in cheek, but maybe doing a triple up. In fact, it was Auto Closer saying a Spurs triple up in defence now. I mean, from an FPL perspective, no,
triple up. That's insane.
I mean,
that is insane.
I mean. Obviously a good friend of ours, FPL Booner, he owns Kane and Son. Do you think that they're definitely worth owning?
I think Son and Kane could be good options. Just depends really how he makes his mark on it and how much of a good start he has starting on Saturday, obviously in the derby.
You're doing really well this season in the predictor game, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright. I think
you're pretty high up in the in the rankings in it. And your thoughts ahead of this game, and who do you think the best captaincy option is for this game week?
Either Vardy or Mane.
Oh wow!
I'm probably going to go with Vardy, just because of, like Phil said, they've got 3 injuries at the back, long-term injuries as well. So I've probably Vardy captain for me.
Do you think then that I'm mad in potentially then getting rid of Kevin De Bruyne to bring in Sterling and captaining Sterling?
I'm not sure. I mean, it could pay off because obviously a lot of people are taking Sterling out, so it could easily pay off. So I don't think you're mad.
But another thought process, and we had Phil and everything doing it, but he's brought in Salah ahead of Kevin De Bruyne. Your immediate thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it could. If it was me, I would have probably waited until the press conferences, because obviously this ankle injury, I wouldn't go anywhere near him with the ankle problems he's got at the moment.
What are your thoughts? I mean, we've got LFC here. Your thoughts on the fact that the triple up of Robertson, TAA, and Mane? Do you think that's a good move moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. I got Van Dijk and Trent and Mane, so yeah, I think it's a good. Hopefully they can start keeping the clean sheets now. Hopefully.
Blimey. So you're expecting this weekend to be the Vardy party then?
Maybe, but yeah, probably. I hope so. But I hope Ryan makes like 10 saves again.
What are you predicting though on that game itself, like a scoreline wise?
Probably 2 or 3-0 to Leicester.
You think they're going to score that many goals?
Yeah, I think they're really solid, and going forward they're really good as well.
So you're looking forward then to Saturday Soccer Live, when we'll be covering the games, and of course Leicester are playing at 3:00. You're happy to be captaining a 3:00 kickoff player?
Yeah. Hopefully it goes planned, but like you said, you never. So fingers crossed it goes well.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. What are you predicting on though? You said you were struggling with the captaincy between Vardy and Mane. LFC's thinking that it's going to be a relatively comfortable victory to Liverpool. Are you thinking the same?
Yeah, I think it'll be 2-0, probably 2-0. Probably Mane get a goal, maybe a goal and assist or a double, because he's looked really good.
How?
Yeah.
Overall, though, what's the percentage-wise of you doing these transfers that you're thinking of bringing in potentially Willian for Yarmolenko, or the defensive transfer? I mean, I wouldn't even bother wasting the defensive transfer if I was you. I would keep it and just save the transfer for the following week. But obviously, it's completely up to you. But what's the percentage of you bringing in Willian?
I'm not sure yet. I'm still debating. Because I was either Pulisic or Willian, because Pulisic has got that hip injury and he didn't travel with United States, so probably maybe do the Willian, but I might just do the defender pick, to be honest. I think Leicester can get a clean sheet, although I think Chelsea can score a few goals, I think, but yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'll make it last minute.
John Engelbrett there, thank you for coming live on air. I really appreciate your thoughts, and of course it was the first time you've been on air, and I really do appreciate it. Talking of bringing people on, let's see if Young Matt is available to talk. Young Matt, are you there? Hello, Young Matt. Yeah, you need to turn the stream off or down, or turn the speakers down, or whatever. To be honest with you, James, you still with us?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I'm still here.
Your now immediate thoughts now that it's officially confirmed that Jose Mourinho is now in charge of Tottenham.
It's not even a sideways move, Steve-O. That's a backwards move. Horrible appointment by Spurs.
Wow.
Doesn't suit their style of football. Also, I'm really concerned about what Mourinho needs, which is money.
Yes.
Which is something traditionally Levy does not provide their managers with. So I don't ending well, unless Mourinho is backed with 150, 200 million pounds.
Do you know, I actually mentioned that to Phil earlier on. I'm in complete agreement with you. I don't quite understand, because Phil made a point that they must have had some form of agreement that he is able to spend, I don't know, X amount of hundreds of millions of pounds over the next 2 seasons or whatever it may be. But yeah, for someone that isn't willing to spend more than a penny on a player, I don't quite understand.
Right.
Why Mourinho would take this job, unless he actually thinks that the particular players that he's already got are good enough to get in, well, let's be honest here, win the Premier League.
That's the only way, because an old dog doesn't learn new tricks, and I don't see Levy suddenly being a generous chairman,
Yeah.
providing his manager with 100 million, 200 million pounds.
No, exactly. I completely agree with you. And if we just bring up the the next few fixtures. I mean, Charlie, we already have gone through over the fixtures, but when we look at Tottenham's next game, which is up against West Ham, do you think this is going to make the game a lot more, not necessarily easier for Tottenham, but do you think that it's going to be, how can I say this? Do you think that Tottenham have got more of a chance of actually winning this game now? Whereas beforehand it looked a bit like, oh, it's a local derby, don't know about it. But now, however, with the news of Mourinho being put in charge, it should be quite comfortable, so to speak. Oh, and before you make that...
possibly.
Oh, go on, carry on.
Yeah, it could possibly make it easier, I think.
Sorry, Charlie.
Players...
I have to. Ray, you really. Ray's just donated $100 New Zealand dollars. You've just gone and signed up to the pay, mate. You really didn't need to send us that.
Wow.
Really do appreciate the donation there. I mean, you're always welcome to come live on air like everybody. So, you know, you've been on the show before. If you want to come live on air, by all means. But really do, me and Jason, thank you a lot for that. Really do appreciate it. Sorry, Charlie, you were saying though about the Spurs West Ham game this game week. Charlie?
Sorry, you cut out.
I was just saying about the West Ham Spurs game this week. You've just given us your thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, I think it's probably the best game for the players to show Mourinho, you know, who's going to be doing well, and you know, it's a game that they can implement their style on, and I reckon it'd be 3-0 Spurs, because West Ham, their keeper as well, is just shocking.
Yeah, talking of West Ham, someone mentioned earlier, and I think it was Gavin Gould, I can't remember now, but they mentioned about potentially Rafa Benitez now stepping in to potentially take over Pellegrini's role. Do you think there's a chance of this happening?
Possibly. I've seen it linked. I think it'd be a quality option. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't really specifically want to be talking about West Ham per se and that potentially happening, but if it was to happen, do you think that West Ham's assets become more appealing, especially defensive-wise, or do you think that, no, just avoid like the plague, it's West Ham?
I just think they need Fabianski. The change since he's got injured, you know, because the funny thing, I don't know if you know this, but they've actually kept more clean sheets than Liverpool this season in the Premier League.
Oh, of course, I mean, everybody's kept more clean sheets than Liverpool because we've all doubled up on them.
But, you know, because in the first 4 or 5 games, that's when they kept the clean sheets, and then since Fabianski's got injured, it's just gone downhill from there, because they have got good players, you know, West Ham.
Yeah,
it's just been awful.
I brought it up the other day, actually, talking of West Ham's form this year. Well, actually, it's ever since, like you mentioned, they lost Fabianski, and wasn't that during the Oxford game or just before?
Just before, I think.
Yeah, and from that moment on, they have not won a single. In fact, that was it. They beat Man United, and they haven't won a game since. They've gone on an atrocious run of form at the moment. I have no idea what that's been put down to, other than this pure coincidence that Fabianski has been injured. Any news on when a possible return?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked anywhere near West Ham players, to be honest.
Apart from Yarmolenko.
Around January, around the Lloris time.
Yeah, but they need him back. That's all I can say.
Blimey, I just think it's absolutely crazy. So if I just bring up West Ham's fixtures since that Man United game. Yeah, since beating Man United, they've lost 5 and drawn 2. And of course, they're up against Tottenham, Chelsea, Wolves, Arsenal in the next 4. I'll ask you, James, first. Is Pellegrini going to be in charge of West Ham when it comes to the 14th of December when they're away at Southampton?
I don't think he'll get judged on the against the top 6 sides. So I'll give him a pass for the Chelsea and Spurs fixtures. So I do think he'll be around.
And you, Charlie, do you think that Pellegrini will be there when they play Southampton away?
I reckon he'd be gone, because if you look at the fixtures they've just had, that was their time to get some wins. Because now, you know, because they've had the likes of Palace, Newcastle, obviously the Burnley game last game week, and obviously now this going into the tough period. So yeah, they've had the good fixtures to, you know, win games, and I reckon they'd be gone if they get battered on Saturday. I reckon.
Yeah, you're confident of Tottenham absolutely destroying West Ham, which I completely I don't know what I could predict for that game. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. But as we all know, the players will be trying to prove something to their new manager, so it wouldn't surprise me if it does end 2 or 3-0. Charlie, have you got any final thoughts before we wrap up the show? Before we let you go?
Just want to say, keep at the. Thanks for having me on.
I'll ask you a question actually. Why are you up so early?
I don't really know. Well, I got a day off work anyway, but I heard the notification on my phone that you was going live, so I thought, why not?
And now you've come live on
an early morning stream, yeah.
Another question for you, Charlie. Are you going to be number 1 in the Cash Mini League at the end of this week?
At the end of the week?
Yeah.
It depends how many points there are between me and Top. I can't remember now.
There is 27, 37, 40. Well, it's a bit ambitious. It's 30 points separating you and Top, but you never know. William could come in if you were to captain him. Do you? Certainly, Nasty Balls. If you're still there, Nasty Balls. If you've got any, you've got a right to reply to Charlie. Do you think you'll take over Nasty Ball? You're only 8. My maths is terrible. 8 points or 7 points behind Nasty Balls. Do you think you'll take his spot in 3rd?
Hopefully, hopefully I can have a. Yeah, it'd be nice to move up another place. Definitely.
Well, you're absolutely dominating at the moment. You're 4 points ahead of 5th. I mean, it's very, very tight at the top. We all know this. In fact, the top, good God, you've got to go. I mean, wow. Between 12th, which is Manchester Reds, and you, there's 10 points. That's crazy. So between 4th and 12th, there's just 10 points. And then there's this huge gap between you and 4th and up to Marlon Moore, 30 points. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just mad.
It's all down to those differentials, eh, Charlie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've done a lot of them, and obviously most of them are paid off. But I think over the December, I think that's when you'll see people fall behind or get forward, because it's going to be so much rotation. I think it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, and well, you're very good at picking these differential picks. We saw what happened with Delafeu. We saw what happened. Wasn't it? It was the other differential you brought in as well that went mad. Did really well. I've completely forgotten, but I'm sure it was somebody.
I can't remember. There's so many.
Either way, you're doing so well at the moment that it doesn't really matter, because you're 4th and you're absolutely storming it. Charlie, we'll get you on tomorrow if you're available. We're going live tomorrow evening, so it'll be our preview show then. Cheers, dude.
Cheers, mate. See you later. Bye.
There we are. There's chicken. There's One Rovers vlogs in the old chat room there. And as ever, if you enjoy. Cheers, Ray. Ray just saying that quality entertainment for over a year, loving it. It is crazy to think that. Oh, here he is. Nasty Balls is there. It is crazy to think that we've been going on for pretty much a year, and it was only in. I mean, James, I'll ask you this. We've only been on Discord since July the 6th this year. Do you think it's just crazy how big this show's exploded over the last 4 months?
Is that all? Like, I feel like I've only been a part of it for around 2 months, but I really thought it's been around for around a year. I'm really shocked that this community's grown so big in 4 months.
we have only been on Discord since, well, let's just put it this way, a stream I did was on July the 6th, and actually we hadn't even done a Discord yet. We'd only had a conversation about it, and people like Daily Llama, FPL Booner, John Harris, we all had a conversation, and we were thinking to ourselves, we don't know how this is going to work. And then Jason was really, really persistent, and here we are 4 months later, which is absolutely it's extraordinary, really. And people like Ray Joyce.
Discord's changed the way I do my fantasy research as well. So rather than go to a bunch of different sites, now I just go to Discord. You know, you've got the other members you can chat with, people posting quality content on there as well. So it's really changed the way that I approach my game week and spend much more time on the Discord than external websites. And it's a lot more interactive and fun.
Yeah, absolutely, James. And yeah, absolutely, I'll be Ray Joyce saying that I'll be watching the X-rated stream as soon as this one ends. Is there 3 of them, James, that I've done? There is, isn't there?
Yes, and Jason's done one.
Has he? When did he do that?
A couple weeks back, 2 weeks back.
An X-rated one? You sure?
No, not quite as X-rated as you, but...
Oh, you're on about the, what do you call it? Are you on about the one which he did about the VAR?
Yes.
Yeah, that is an X-rated. Although, what I will say is that Jason did say that he does want to do an X-rated one.
Maybe a PG-13.
Yeah, I think it contains a word that even I could say live on air without us being taken off. But Ray Joyce, all I'll say is that the last one that I did is a bit dark. It's more about, I'll be honest with you, it's how I see what will happen with the growth of this channel, and how essentially we will be dealing with certain individuals, and my thoughts on certain individuals and everything, without naming any names. You'll understand when you see the particular video, but it is a bit dark. And Phil straight away, in fact, Phil making a very good point there to Ray, that if you are a member, you will be able to watch the anniversary stream that was taken down in all its full glory, essentially just seeing Jason absolutely hammered. So Ray, I would highly recommend you start with that one, watch that all the way through, and then, in fact, forget that. I would recommend you skipping the first hour and a half, because really that's when it's myself, Dan and Jason just having a coherent conversation. But from that point onwards, all I would say is that that's when the entertainment really does start, Ray. So I would recommend doing that. And Mavid Dykel's making the point there. Me talking about, of course, the Facebook girls. Yeah. Oh, I nearly swore then. Absolutely awful. Robert Dinsmore, I did see, I saw that he tweeted us, Nathan Bacon, giving us a shout out. It was to do with his, what do you call it, is the fact that he's part of the Champions League that the Daily Llama has kindly put together. So I'll check out what he specifically says later on. Oh, and Ray did say he watched some of the anniversary one. Watch the whole of it. It's what is it, James? It's like 4 hours long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very, very long stream.
Weren't you part of that? Were you on that?
I was, yeah. Jason called me out and he told me to come on air, so I called in towards the end.
Yes! Was this your first time? I can't even remember. I can't...
That was probably my second time. Second or third.
Oh my goodness. And that's crazy. And what did it feel like, the fact that I can't get my head around like the fact that people watch us, and I always keep saying this, but we're just blokes that just sit, well, certainly in my case, I'm just a bloke that sits in front of a camera, hits play and just goes, I can't be bothered to talk, does anybody want to come on with me? And then people like yourself kindly come on. How do you feel that you're part of the show, and you're almost, well, you're one of the regulars and almost like a host in itself?
That's what makes this channel so great, is it truly is a community channel.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to get involved, who knows their football or fantasy, are welcome to contribute. And I think that's what makes this channel truly unique. And I know you call yourself a regular bloke, but you know, I see you as more of an expert, a personality in this space. And actually, that really helps because you see other channels where they proclaim themselves to be an expert and they get stuff wrong all the time, and that just drives me mad. But when you present yourself as just like a regular guy, like everything that you say just comes across as genuine advice, and you don't really care whether it pans out or not, and you're not too critical about that.
And my favourite, I said it in the members. We are live now, aren't we? I said it for the members video that I did the other day, and I want the trolls that proclaim when they're in the live chat. You know who you are. When you're in the live chat and you're having a go, it's mainly me. You're having a go at me. I'm like, don't block them, don't ban them unless they say something which is out of bounds or whatever. Come live on air. In fact, who was it? Someone the other day said that they wanted to come live on air and they wanted to have their say, and I'm thinking, please do. Me and Jason want as many of you guys to, obviously we've got a time limit, so to speak, but we want as many of you guys to come live on air, like today, where it was yourself, Phil, and LFC, or John, however you want to be named, live on air, having a normal conversation. And I want people to come on air and having a go at me and Jason. You know, when Jason did that Martial move, I wanted people to come on and flaming put their middle fingers up and say, who the hell do you think you are doing this? You've been saying all along that he's a waste of time, or Man United assets, more to the point, are a waste of time. Come live on air. Tell him. You know, it's all well and good me saying this, but it'd be absolutely amazing if people like yourself, not you, but anybody that's live on the chat comes live on air and has a go at him. It'd be absolutely fantastic. But Phil, the stuff that I said about Facebook, I may do one if the members really want it. I may do one about my online dating, my 6 months of online dating. In fact, would that interest you, James? Just of interest, my online dating 6 month life. Would that interest you at all, or?
Honestly, I've never heard you speak anything but fantasy football, so I can't judge. But yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah, I may do a special if anybody's interested. Because funny enough, Statman Kev, Geordie Kev, however you want to be called. By the way, congratulations. In all seriousness, Kev, our regular. I'm surprised he's not here now, but Kev got engaged to his obviously his girlfriend, now fiance. So genuinely congratulations. Well done to you. But Kev made a point that he wants me and Jason to do a video each for the members that will just talk about ourselves really, and just essentially get you to know us more, is what Kevin wants. But Kev, sorry. I shouldn't be saying.
So we were speaking about Pellegrini getting the sack. Bookies have him at 6-1 right now. He's third favourite to go.
Oh right, okay.
Joint first and second is the Southampton manager and Unai Emery from Arsenal. They're 3-1, 4-1.
Oh wow.
Who do you think will go out of those three, Steve-O? First.
God, I think what will happen is that if Charlie's right, and West Ham get a beating, when I say a beating, I mean like 3 or 4 against Tottenham, I think that could be the end of Pellegrini, to be honest with you. Southampton's another one. They are utterly appalling. And again, if I was to bring up Southampton's last several fixtures, once I can see their form and everything, which obviously doesn't need to be told per se, but Southampton of late have been so... In fact, here we go. I mean, it's just about as bad as West Ham. The last 7 fixtures, they've lost 6 and drawn 1, and they are just sliding and sliding and sliding, albeit 2 of those fixtures were against Man City, losing 3-1 and 2-1. I was surprised, if I'm honest with you, James, that nothing was done after they lost 9-0 to Leicester, to be honest with you, because that was, let's be honest here, that was disgusting. But
Yeah, they gave up.
They heads down, couldn't be bothered. What's the point in us doing anything? I mean, ironically, you know, at the start of the season, they actually did okay. You know, it's once they their bad run started way back in 20th of September. They lost 3-1 to Southampton. They then had a local derby in the League Cup against Portsmouth where they won 4-0. And then from that moment on, they played Tottenham. They lost 2-1 and then that was it. They've just gone completely down the pan. And I think that certainly the Southampton manager... in fact, both teams, West Ham and Southampton, have tough fixtures. In fact, they're against North London teams in Arsenal and Tottenham. It's a case of... the thing with the Southampton is this, is that after Arsenal, they've got 2 home games. They're against Watford and Norwich, and then they're away at Newcastle. I think those 3 games there are going to decide the future of their manager, because their next home game, which is on the 14th of December at home to West Ham, of all teams, I mean, that game could be the deciding factor between the 2 managers. But I would think that... what is the Southampton's manager called again? I keep forgetting his name, but...
he's a German guy, Ralph...
Hasenhüttl, yes, of course. Hasenhüttl, yes. I think that he has got, basically, after this Arsenal game, he has got 3 games to turn it around. And I would say this, the board will be thinking that the 2 home fixtures against Watford and Norwich, if they don't get a minimum of 4 points out of those 2, I think he's a goner, basically. I think he's doomed. And Pellegrini, we've already mentioned their fixtures, but their fixtures upcoming are just absolutely crazy. You know, Tottenham at home, Chelsea away. They then have got Wolves away, Arsenal at home. They're both in absolute mire, and I can't see either of them sticking around for much longer, to be honest with you. Anyway, James, have you got anything you want to say before we let you go?
Just about the Vardy captaincy this weekend. I don't know why everyone's so high on him, because the history shows they've only won 2-0 and drawn 1-1. They've never scored more than 2 goals past Brighton. So I'm a bit cautious on Vardy having this huge haul this coming weekend.
Very, very interesting indeed. Just going on that, Sydney Hammer saying that we're 16th at the moment. This is West Ham, and haven't played any of the top teams yet. Pellegrini is a dead man walking right now. And the difference between West Ham and Saints is that West Ham have got talent. Southampton don't. And in answer to OB11X's question, yes, Jose Mourinho is Tottenham's new manager. There we have it. James, gonna be watching tomorrow evening the preview show.
Absolutely, can't wait. I'll be making my predictions with you guys.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy, pal. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I really enjoy these morning streams and really appreciate it so much. It gives us people out here in this part of the world something to watch during the day, which is amazing.
What time is it out in Hong Kong at the moment?
It's 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, well, you'll be able to go to bed then in a normal time.
It's brilliant. I'm at work, and work's never been this fun before.
Well, amazing. James, take it easy, dude. Have a good day.
Cheers. Thanks, Steve-O.
There's James Bang there. Really do appreciate the support, and just like with all of you, I really do appreciate the support. Like I said, I'm going to call it a morning, an evening, whatever, or afternoon in James's case, whatever time of the day it is with you. Really do appreciate well, let's be honest here, all you guys sticking around for the last 2 hours. That's been 2 hours. That has absolutely vanished. I cannot believe that has been 2 hours gone. Wow. Yeah, let's just quickly do the admin then, I suppose. And in fact, talking of admin, what I will say is that I do, when the football is up and running, let's be honest here, the Premier League season's up and running and everything, we're going to be back to our best. Me and Jason will be back to our regular daily, give or take, daily content. I do pride ourselves on the fact that we are, here we are, Mr. Reed, we are virtually a daily streamer for all things fantasy football. But no, in all seriousness, me and Jason do try to provide as much shows as possible, because I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think it's required. I think that these shows are fantastic. I think that the audience interaction is wonderful, and just getting on the callers, the fact that I can just sit back and just ask a question and get people like James, Phil, John just a few minutes ago, Charlie just giving a coherent and giving me a coherent conversation to have. It's just absolutely fantastic. So really do appreciate that. But no, we'll be back to our usual schedule, so to speak, from tomorrow evening. Myself and Jason will be back together live. We'll be back together at 8:30. It will be our preview show. You'll be able to find the old we'll be able to find the old who the captaincy decisions is going to be made by the history. Is it just me? Yeah, I'll just bring that up actually. Llama's just posted this in the old team screenshots here, and I completely agree with you. Is it just me, or are the elite? I don't know why that hasn't. Oh, I'll tell you why it hasn't fully come up, because it's too big a picture, Llama. So I'm gonna have to make it smaller so people can actually see. Is it just me, or are elite leagues getting crazier out there? Yes, they are, and we haven't even got to Christmas. And Charlie, of course, made the point that Christmas is going to be really testing the nerve of some of the managers. In fact, I believe that what was it? James from Planet FPL, or Sush? I can't remember. Either way, one of the guys on Planet FPL made the point that a quarter of the game has already quit. So it's pretty crazy, to be honest with you. This is all good for people that play in the overall rank, but people that take a cash mini league very seriously, it doesn't help, because you guys are obviously going to be playing this till the very bitter end, no matter how bad your season's going. But yeah, this stream was all about the fact that essentially what will happen when Mourinho takes over from Tottenham, and while we were live, it was broken. There we are, live on screen right now. The news that Daily Llama making a very funny point there. But that quarter that has quit is still ahead of him. Exactly. Morning, Romello. Good morning, Cape FPL. Cheers, dude. Thanks for joining. Even though I'm going off now. But yeah, the breaking news that Jose Mourinho is officially the Tottenham manager. Me and Jason will, of course, be discussing this tomorrow evening as well. Like I said, you'll find out what the history is suggesting, who to captain, what the history thinks the results will be, what I think the results will be, of course, Jason. Of course, we'll be taking one of you guys live on air as well. We want to be getting one of the callers on to be predicting along with us. At the moment, Nimfria is absolutely dominating the predictor game at the moment, from my point of view anyway, the unofficial predictor game. She is winning it quite comfortably. So yes, as ever, if you have enjoyed the stream, by all means, as you're walking out the door, just simply hit the like button. That's the easiest way to show your support. The easiest way to say thank you to me and Jason is just by simply hitting the like button. If you are brand new around here and you've enjoyed the content today, like I said, we are going to be, once the season starts kicking off again, we are virtually a daily live FPL streaming show. So by all means, hit that subscribe button. What I was going to say is that, just to give you a quick update on what's going to be happening this particular weekend, we of course have got Thursday evening where we'll be doing our preview show, and then on Saturday it's Saturday FPL Live, where me and Jason will be around the grounds, reacting to all the goals and the assists as they go in for all the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We've then, of course, got Man City versus Chelsea. I'll be covering that game. I don't know if Jason will be covering it or not, but certainly I will be. You never know, I may have Sterling captain in that. Who knows? But we'll be covering that game. Then, of course, Sunday, we've got Sunday surgery. And you never know, there could be a stream on Monday evening, because it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is an absolute terrible game, but it is Aston Villa versus Newcastle on Monday evening. Other than that, all I can say is have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever you guys will be doing. Oh, right, I haven't got a coin on me. James, I haven't got a coin on me, I'm afraid. So I can't flip a coin for you. Do it tomorrow. James, we'll do it tomorrow evening. I'll remember. Tomorrow evening we will do a stream, and we'll deliberately do a flip of the coin for you regarding Aubameyang and Richarlison captain, and we will hold your word for it. Exactly. Thumbs up. Cheers, guys, and take it easy.